Have you ever made an agreement with your friends? How do you make sure they keep their end of the bargain? Cross your heart? Pinky swear? How do nations live up to their agreements? Now, we've talked about the Haudenosaunee Confederacy. One reason they were so powerful is that they were united by the Great Law of Peace. During the Revolutionary War, the Six Nations Confederacy fractured. The Oneida and Tuscarora helped the Americans, while the Seneca, Cayuga, Onondaga, and Mohawk sided with the British. When the war ended, Britain and the U.S. signed an agreement called the Treaty of Paris. The U.S. was now independent, and it set the boundaries for the U.S. and Canada, which was still owned by the British. But the treaty made no provisions for any indigenous people whose land was now in the U.S. Since most of the Six Nations fought alongside the British, the Treaty of Fort Stanwix forced the Haudenosaunee to give up big pieces of land as punishment, which is totally unfair. They were upset that the chain of friendship with the U.S. had been broken. Many Mohawk moved to Canada because it was safer for them. Since the Haudenosaunee were living on both sides of the border, the Jay Treaty of 1794 allowed indigenous people to freely pass and repass between Canada and the U.S. During the war, George Washington ordered attacks on the Haudenosaunee. But afterwards, he met with many leaders like Red Jacket and Corn Planter to improve relations. This led to new treaty negotiations. U.S. and Haudenosaunee representatives met at Canandaigua. This treaty established perpetual peace and friendship between the Six Nations and the U.S. They still recognize this treaty today. The agreement was remembered through this huge wampum belt. The Seneca Nation kept their land, but there was great pressure for them to sell it. In 1797, members of the Seneca Nation met with representatives of the U.S. and the Holland Land Company, who wanted to buy 3.2 million acres of Seneca land. They were looking to make money by buying land and then selling it at a profit. The result of the meeting was an agreement called the Treaty of Big Tree, because they negotiated near a huge oak tree along the banks of the Genesee River. The treaty set aside 12 reservations in Western New York, along with annual money and certain rights for the Seneca. The largest reservation, called Buffalo Creek, is gone. But the Seneca people still live on the territory from this treaty. The treaty is still in effect today, and it's important to remember that reservation land belongs to the Seneca, not to New York State or the U.S. Treaties are promises. You want a promise to be kept, and the Haudenosaunee continue to work with New York State and the U.S. government to make sure that the promises made to them in their treaties are kept too. History surrounds you and includes you, so go ahead and make history. Maybe someday I'll be telling your story right here on Compact History.